Welcome in. If you are here looking for answers, I feel like what I'm about to read, is going to answer all of your questions. So take a moment, sit back, relax. I am going to read this. I asked what my readings would be about today, and what did I need to focus on, or what is the collective wanting to focus on, and I pulled the Magician. And I pulled it in the Hindel Tarot, which this author is absolutely amazing, and their writing and their descriptions and the way they interpret this card is beautiful. So stay for a moment, close your eyes, relax, and absorb. The Magician is creative power. There are times in life when we feel a power moving through us, when everything we do seems magical. We can make things happen and bring our fantasies to life. We may experience this as a phase or in just a brief instant, but when the inspiration and magic happens, we find our own will and desires in harmony with events. At first, it may seem that we are focusing our own power, but the deeper we go into the magic, the more we realize that we are opening ourselves, allowing a power to flow through us. It is at these moments that we really come to understand the Magician. The Hebrew letter Beth, or house. As a primary human creation, a house symbolizes all of human culture and technology. A house represents human as toolmaker. Beth is the second letter in the Hebrew alphabet, but the first letter of the Bible, which starts with the word Bereshith, or in the beginning. And since Elf is silent, Beth is the first letter with a sound. In a sense, the first letter of the real world. Likewise, although the Magician is the second card after the Fool, he is card 1 in the sequence. Thus, he represents the proper beginning of the Fool journey through the stages of growth. The rune Pio, or Pa, literally means cattle and stands for wealth and property. The rune was sacred to Frey, a Norse god of sexual potency and peace. Even though the rune and the card both signify masculine power, they do not refer to aggression or violence. Weapons were not permitted in Frey's temple. The modern assumption that sex and violence somehow go together did not exist in Frey's world. Pa means cosmic fire, the male principle. The Magician represents archetypical maleness. Astrology, it represents Mercury. This planet's name and its qualities come from the Roman god, known in Greek as Hermes. Mercury is sometimes identified with the German Wotan, Odin, who appears several times in the Hindel Tarot, as well as the Egyptian Thoth. Mercury was the god of magicians, but also of merchants, thieves, swindlers, liars, writers, scientists, and healers. In other words, he signifies mental as well as magical power. These are all important attributes of the magician, who teaches us that magic is not so much the casting of spells as the focusing of mind, knowledge, and will in order to allow a power to move through us for desired results. The element is air, the power of the mind. Description: traditionally we know the magician as a sorcerer, but scientists and artists are also apt descriptions. For all these characters, know well that special experience of creation. Most creative people admit that when their work goes well, they do little but act as an opening for something that wants and needs to come into existence. And yet, this creation cannot happen until they focus and take action, working very hard to bring their dream, the creation, into reality. In the Hendel Tarot, the magician calls forth Merlin, the sorcerer who aided King Arthur and the Grail Knights. In fact, the Grail itself appears as the cup, one of the four emblems of the minor Arcana. The four elements, all associated with the Grail story, also signify the four suits, and therefore the four elements of the physical world. The magician is a master of these elements, of the entire world around him. But if he tries to use his creative power just for ego satisfaction, the artist who only wants praise, the scientist who only seeks advancement, the sorcerer who wants only to control his enemies, his power will fail him. And knowledge alone cannot rule life. At the end of his story, Merlin teaches his secrets to Nimue, a female apprentice who then imprisons him in a tree. Though his sorcery told him this would happen, Merlin could not help himself. He could master the world, but not his own heart. We may enact this myth in our own response to tarot readings, especially those that tell us to avoid a certain person or situation. Often we ignore the warning and suffer exactly the results predicted in the cards. Thus, we learn the weakness of intelligence and the failure of will. With his primal number 1, suggestive of the phallus, the magician signifies maleness. When the fool falls from his innocence, the world itself falls from wholeness to a duality. On one side, we find the magician, or what occultists sometimes call the male principle. This principle involves light, consciousness, will, action, intellect, the sun, and the positive pull of electromagnetism. On the other side of the duality is the High Priestess, symbol of femaleness, darkness, receptivity, quiet, mystery, intuition, stillness, the moon, the negative pole. Much of the struggle and growth inherent in the major arcana involves revolving this apparent split in creation. We should realize, however, that the magician does not refer only to men, nor does the High Priestess signify only women. This illustrates why one important part of readings is the breakdown of roles and stereotypes, allowing us to realize that people themselves, as well as their journeys, change throughout their lifetimes. The magician signifies a time of creativity and power. We feel in control of our lives, able to make things happen in positive ways. In terms of work, we make connections and accomplish tasks we previously wouldn't have thought possible. We can transform our lives, bringing new things into existence. The magician denotes an ability to focus energy and carry others with us through the power of our own excitement, imagination, and belief. We need to be careful with this power and not take it for granted. Sometimes the magician gives us the chance to start something which will require hard work to finish. However and whenever they appear, the magician times in our lives are special and need to be both used and appreciated. In a reversed position, something is blocking that wonderful magician energy. It may be self-doubt or an outside force. The reversed card can indicate repressed fear or emotional pain that makes it difficult for the person to use creative energy or take action. If the person experiences this magician energy but fails to use it or release it, anxiety or even ill health can result. If several minor cards of difficulty show up in the reading along with the reversed magician, the person might want to examine this concept of repressed energy. As an alternative reading, the magician reversed may indicate arrogance and misuse of power. Again, the surrounding cards will clarify this. And I would like to address the magician is the master of the elements, and it does also have the capacity to create false illusions along the path. And what this is mostly telling me is there's a process here of mourning, releasing your attachments to outcomes, expectations, assumptions, people, places, things, and potential visions that you have seen and lived in for however long. This is the gate of actually manifesting your dreams and There isn't anybody in the entire universe that can hold you back besides yourself. The message here is it's finally time to walk beside yourself, aligned on your path, following the voice of your soul. I pulled the High Priestess. Harness mystic power. Right? The magician and the High Priestess stand side by side. The student and the teacher. The teacher appears when the student is ready. The magician activates physical manifestation. The High Priestess is there to lead you on the path of your soul, leading you in the direction of everything you ever wanted and ever desired. Let go of the need to be right. Again, attachment here is asking to be surrendered. And remember, attachment is a very subtle force and can get in the way without awareness. So create a ritual that gives you steady awareness while you shed your old skin. Welcome to the grand finale. It's an honor to be here. And I love it. I love every single one.